welcome everyone. Welcome back from lunch. It's a little bit sparse at the moment, unfortunately. Obviously, people are still eating, and enjoying round tables. So hopefully we'll get some more coming in. But I'd like to introduce Mariusz here from there we go. We've got more people coming in now. I'd like to introduce Mariusz, from Alior Bank. So we have been with Alior Bank since 2008. We were one of the first platforms that went in when Alior Bank got created. So we've had a really long journey with them. And then recently we migrated to the cloud with you. And that's what you're going to talk about, isn't it? So I'll hand over to Mariusz now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm very happy to be with you today, and share our experiences with journey to the cloud. My name is Mariusz Klys, and I'm Director of Data Department at Alior Bank. And I'm responsible for data management, data quality, data governance, but I'm also business owner of data warehouse and BI platform. Let's start with a brief introduction who we are. As already said, Alior Bank was established in 2008, and it was the biggest, the largest investment in the financial sector in the last 20 years prior to the establishment. We started our operation in November 2008, so nobody gave us a chance to survive, because it was in the middle of the financial crisis. And we not only survived, but grew very fast, very rapidly, especially in the first stage of our history. We started as a modern, very technologically oriented bank with innovative products and services. We used to call ourselves that we were not the bank, but fintech with banking license. I was one of the founder members, so I have grown up together with Alior from a startup company to where we are now. And today we are the 8th largest bank in Poland, with 4.4 million retail customers and over 2,100 business clients. Our total assets amount to over $22 billion. We are now executing our strategy, which is based on the mission that we want to be a bank of your everyday life, but also the bank for the future. And 2023, we came back to the WIG 20. This is the index, the stock exchange, grouping the largest 20 companies in Poland. And in 2024, it was the first year that we were able to pay out dividend. The history of Alior is connected with Teradata from the start. We had some discussions, I remember, should we build a data warehouse? If we not survive, why to spend money? But our CEO decided that if we want to be modern bank, we need to leverage on data. So the decision was clear. We started with data warehouse. It was implemented 2008, and the first processes covered by the data warehouse was, of course, obligatory reporting, so regulatory reporting, but also management reporting, like controlling finance, risk, and so on. In the years from 2009 to 2015, we did many modernization projects. Bank grew very rapidly, so we needed just more CPU power, more storage. We also implemented disaster and recovery environment, because we started only with production environment. And during that years, we implemented CRM for retail clients and BI based on SaaS solution. And the last two modernizations were, in my opinion, the most important. The first one was 2017. We separated our production environment into two components, Appliance and IntelliFlex. Appliance for heavy analytical queries, and IntelliFlex for tactical queries coming from Tableau, because 2019-17 was also the year when we decided to implement Tableau in the organization. The second reason for the upgrade was our acquisition of BPH, which is was another bank in the Poland financial sector. So we just needed more storage, more power to operate on double as much data as it was prior to the acquisition. In 2024, combining of physical environments and decision to migrate to cloud, I will talk about it more later. 2017 was also very important from our perspective because we changed how we work with business users. So prior to 2017, we had a central unit, my unit, which was responsible for delivering data, reports, analytical data sets to business. So if anybody in the organization wanted report or data, they had to just request the data from central unit. And 2017, we decided to democratize our data and give access to data warehouse everybody in the head office. So today, everybody who wants to have access to data warehouse, and of course they need to have some SQL skills and know the data warehouse, there is no problem to get the access and to work with data directly. Our role changed a little bit because we've started focusing more on the quality of data to make sure that data is integrated, complete, correct, and reusable. Opening the data warehouse to the business resulted in rapid growth of usage of data warehouse. I don't want to go into details, but you can see in the upper left corner number of data warehouse users. We started 2017 from 200 users. Today we have over 1,200 data warehouse users, and half of them logging in average every day to the data warehouse. The number of queries grew, also the number of business self-service reports and processes developed by our business also grew in accordance with the number of users. Data warehouse at Alior is a critical system because maybe it is not so usual in other financial institutions, but our data warehouse not only covers financial reporting, obligatory reporting, controlling reporting, which is common in the sector, but we also cover processes which in other banks are covered by separate environments, like for example, FATCA CRS, GDPR, AMA, which is advanced measurement approach to operational risk, IFRS 9, so some accounting approaches to calculate reserves, and many other things which are accumulated everything on one platform. So altogether, we have over 3,000 processes run on data warehouse. Data warehouse is loaded daily. We have over 14,000 SQL scripts. And out of these 3,000 processes, 2,700 is built by our business users. Just before the migration, we had 90 terabytes of compressed data and significant amount of users and their processes to be also migrated. So why upgrade? Partially, I already answered the question, because due to dynamic growth of processes, of number of processes, number of users, we just needed more computing power and more storage. End of 2023, we just came to the wall. We were not able to implement new processes because we were not able to deliver data on time. Our ambition is to deliver data before people come to work. So 7 a.m. was our deadline, and in December last year, we were not able to deliver data even to 12. And if we had problems with extracts, sometimes happen that there are some errors in the extracts, so we need to correct the data and the process and reprocess the data. So it took so many times that we are not able to close the day even at 5 p.m. The second reason was we just wanted to modernize our data platform just to be able to improve time to market for our processes. As I already said, we were not able to implement new processes due to the bottleneck we had. So we just needed to do something to make it possible. And last but not least, end of life of the previous infrastructure. So nevertheless, we needed to do something with the previous environment. We considered, of course, many options. The first one was to upgrade on-premise. But after many discussions with Teradata colleagues, we started to think seriously about going into the cloud. Our objective was to better utilize the CPU power and storage what we had on the previous environment. What do I mean? Having the on-premise infrastructure, you just don't have the flexibility to adjust the power according to your needs. So when you need more power, like in the normal weekday between 9 and 5 p.m., this is the same environment which you have also in the weekends when you don't need so much power. And we didn't have any flexibility how to change it. Cloud is something which we can use more flexible. So when we need more power, we can get more power. And when there are not so many processings like in the weekends, we don't need to utilize the full capacity of the infrastructure. The other reason was, strong potential to integrate with other services, other vendors, providers who operate only in the cloud. For us, upgrading data warehouse was just the first step. I'll talk about it a little bit more on the next slide, but we're thinking about building a data platform where data warehouse is just one of components of the data platform. Flexible data management and to improve data accessibility for modeling. It's also connected with all the functionalities, all the technologies which are available in the cloud. And of course, integration with cost-effective storage. We migrated to Microsoft, so for us, Azure Blob Storage was perfect choice. Being in on-premises environment, we had our call data and also archive data on Hadoop, later on Cloudera, which was not so cost-effective. And Azure Blob Storage using Teradata native object storage is a perfect fit for us. And of course, cloud references, because before Alior, Teradata Poland migrated to other customers to cloud. The first one was Orange, and the second one was Polkomtel, also telco company. So we were, sure that the team is able to do it on time and smoothly. Busy slide, I don't want to go into details. This is the architecture before the migration. I just want to show you that the environment was a little bit complicated because we had the production environment consisting of 2 components, appliance, 6 nodes of appliance machine, and IntelliFlex. We also had disaster and recovery environment, of course, test and development, and workflow automation tool. Before we migrated to cloud, we combined both components of production environment. We did it internally without help of Teradata, and migrated, all together on the target platform to the cloud. After migration, the architecture looks like you see on the slide. So it's just production and acceptance environment, which is located in Warsaw. It was one of the prerequisites to go to the cloud, that we have our production data in Warsaw. But we also have disaster and recovery environment in Frankfurt, just to mitigate some risk related to also to geopolitical risks. The communication between on-premises and the current architecture runs through our landing zone, and the only one environment which is still in on-premises, our test and development environment. From our perspective, it didn't make any sense to migrate it to the cloud. What were the biggest challenges? We were not afraid of the technical part of the project. As I said, Teradata had experiences with other customers, so we also talked to our peers at Polkomtel and Orange, and we were sure that the team will be able to migrate us. But the biggest risk and the biggest challenges were related to legal, because we need to comply with 2 major acts in Poland. The first one is banking law, and the second one is KNF enhancement. KNF is Polish Financial Supervision Authority. And on one hand, KNF enhancement imposes new, very strict obligations on the banks. But on the other hand, for us, it was the only way to go with their data into the cloud due to some restrictions regarding outsourcing chain from the banking law. According to the Polish banking law, the length of outsourcing chain may not be bigger than 2 levels. Yes, so if Microsoft would be our first outsourcer, Teradata would be our first outsourcer, Microsoft would be the second one, and all the other affiliates would be the next level. So it was not possible to go this way. We decided and found the way to make Teradata and Microsoft 2 cloud service providers. And in this model, Teradata and Microsoft are our first line outsourcers, and their affiliates are not sub-outsourcers, but subcontractors. Don't ask me what's the difference, I don't know. But our lawyers said that this is the good way to go. Of course, we required also to meet some security requirements coming from Act of the National Cybersecurity System, and some other some other requirements, like, for example, unlimited responsibility of the vendor for all the damages done to the customers. We wouldn't be able to migrate without the great support of and also changes internally in the Teradata, because to meet the requirements of being CSP, according to the Polish banking law and KNF announcement, Teradata had to set up a support center in Europe, because according to the Polish law, access to the data is only possible in the European Economic Area. And there is no way to have access to data sitting outside of Europe. So, of course, there is a way we can apply in KNF to have the approval, to have the support also outside of Europe, but this process takes time. We were said that it might take 2 to 3 years, so for us it was not the solution. So Teradata decided to set up a supporting center in Europe just to meet the requirements. And what we did extra was also related to encryption. Because according to Polish law, we need to have our data encrypted in use in transit at rest. But there is the third state when data is in use. So just to make sure that we do it really properly, we decided to implement a third-party solution, Thales. By the way, it was the first usage of Thales in the cloud environment, because Teradata had some experiences, but only on on-premises environments. So it was basically the first time when Thales was implemented in cloud environment, just to encrypt data also in use. We also have had many discussions with our Teradata colleagues just to meet the requirements, to have the impact on who is the subcontractor, that we have the right to say that this subcontractor, for whatever reason, should be exchanged and so on. So it required also many actions from Teradata to make sure that we will be able to sign the contract. And of course, some rules regarding the security incidents and so on. If you look at the roadmap, the whole operation lasted from mid-September to end of January. The contract was signed mid of August. The first month was just celebration. I'm joking, project planning, of course. And we worked in 3 streams. The first one was this technological part. The second one was security tests. And the third one was all these legal formalities. In Poland, you don't need to get approval for KNF. You need to notify KNF about your intent to process data in the cloud. You need to make analysis what data will be processed in the cloud. You need to evaluate the risk. You need to make the decision if the risks are acceptable, how you can mitigate all the risks, and all these documents put together, you need to send to KNF, and then KNF has 2 weeks to raise any questions, if they have any doubts, or if they want the bank to complete the documents, they have 2 weeks to do it. But in our case, there was no feedback from KNF, so after 2 weeks, it was a sign for us that we can move on. It was the beginning of November. At the same time, we started to provision the environment in the cloud and started our security tests. And the security tests finished mid-December with the green light from our security guys that we can migrate our data. We started a little bit earlier, before the green light from security, because we started with two things. The first one, as a part of notification to KNF, was documented exit strategy. This is something which KNF requires from the bank, that we have tested and documented process of exiting cloud. So in our case, we just did a test that we just migrated back some portion of data to on-premises. It was fake data. It was just, to check if the process works. And the next thing was just migrating our acceptance environment. And we did it before we had the green light from security, because due to the timeline and due to first positive tests, we had the approval from security to migrate acceptance environment, because there was only a small portion of data processed there. The first real migration was our disaster and recovery environment, and we did it the second half of December last year. Production environment, it was done this year, January. It was divided into two parts. The first was the trial migration. After the trial migration, all the problems we noted, we just addressed in the meantime, and the final migration took place end of January. In our case, it took, let's say, 2 days, because we started Friday like 1 p.m. And on Sunday morning, we were ready to give back data warehouse to our users. We not only needed to migrate data, but also we had to process Friday and Saturday. Yes, so because the data warehouse was shut down, so we didn't process Friday, so we needed to process Friday and then Saturday, and we were ready Sunday. So the plans were to open data warehouse on Monday, but we were like 1 day earlier ready to do it. And the last part was stabilization, but frankly speaking, there were not any crucial problem, just some fine tuning. So I must say that it was a really smooth process. Okay, and what were the first results? I can say that it was a big success from our perspective, because the biggest problem we had before we migrated was, as I already said, with the performance of the data warehouse. And just after the migration, the average time of processing our daily batch shortened by 45%. So it was even more than we expected. We had some doubts about the sizing, because we didn't do any POC earlier, so we didn't know if the sizing is okay, if we really achieve this improvement. We wanted like 20%, 30%, 45% was even more than we expected. And what is even more important is that when we talk to Teradata, we wanted to have an environment which would be comparable to what we had on premises. But due to the flexibility that we can, regulate how much CPU power we really use, we wanted to take advantage of this, and without having to to add more power, shorten the time of processing our data. And it was a really big success because we achieved it, even exceeded our expectations. Also, the data transfer time to data warehouse and from data warehouse was better, which may sound a little bit strange because we need to transfer data to cloud and from cloud, so it should take longer, but we did some optimizations before we migrated, and due to also greater computing power, even in this aspect, we see better results than before. We have also the first CRM model built on our new environment. But of course, we want to leverage more on analytical capabilities of the new platform. And the last step in the migration was migrating this cold storage data. We migrated in the production environment. It was 90 terabytes of data, and in cold data it was over 70 terabytes of data migrated to Azure Blob Storage and communicated with the production environment through native object store. What's next? As I already said, upgrading data warehouse is just the first step for us in a bigger modernization project. We want to build a data platform revolving around the data lakehouse, with data warehouse being part of the bigger picture. We want to leverage more on the built-in capabilities of Teradata. Today, Martin Wilcox showed a very pretty slide with all the built-in functions and BYOM functionality. So we will for sure analyze what we can do with what we have now without any capital investments. Of course, we want to also integrate the data platform with tools supporting our data governance, data quality processes. So this is also the part of the project. And Teradata Vantage Cloud is one of the options we consider. But I must say that you have strong competition. That's all. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you very much. Please, can you remember to fill in your surveys? Oh, we have got a question here, Peter.
Mariusz, you mentioned Thales in Azure. How happy are you with it?
It does what it should do. Yeah? So encrypting data, but we had some discussions how will Thales impact the performance of our environment. The first messages were not very optimistic because Teradata said that it may be up to 20%, but at the end of the day, for us, it's not noticeable. So just, as I said, the time of processing data is 45% shorter. Maybe it could be 50%, I don't know, but from our perspective, it doesn't matter in this case.
Any other sneaky last questions? Oh, we got Kevin. Yeah.
What were the main? I'm loud.
What were the main contributors to the ingest time going down, your data transfer times? Were your sources closer in the cloud, or were they?
We just, all the other source systems are on premise. So just, the data warehouse is the first environment which we migrated to the cloud. So we also had some, we were afraid how the fact that we need to transfer data from on-premises to cloud will impact the time of delivering final products to our internal customers. But due to some optimizations and also, some fine-tuning, I'm not, IT guy, so I'm not able to explain all the details. But due to some fine-tuning, we were able to, to get even better times. So for me, it was, counterintuitive because we thought that it will be a problem, but at the end of the day, we managed to address this issue.
I think I'll just make a comment on that. One of the things we often find with customers migrating is that it's a great opportunity to fix some of those technical debt issues, and sometimes that might just be networking problems or poorly performing extract code. So when you're doing a migration, it's always that great thing to always think, let's do the lift and shift, but there's a few things you can probably tidy up at the same time. And by the sounds of it, that really benefited you as well. Cool.
What I could say at the end, I would say that if you're thinking about going into the cloud, just do it. Really, because when we started talking to Teradata, I said, no way, it's not possible. But when you go into the details, when you talk to your regulator, when you talk to your vendor, it's possible, and we are, the best proof that we can do it, you can do it too. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the best sales pitch you can get.